Hi, everyone. This is Julie Roth Novack, CEO and co-founder of PartySlate. I am very excited to have one of our more technical webinars on tech SEO. I love to geek out. We've talked a lot about content SEO. We've talked about backlinking. We've talked about optimizing your blog. But today we're going to be talking about technical SEO. So if you guys could, any questions you have, you can change your chat to all panelists and attendees. So don't feel like you have a dumb question. If you have a question, someone else may have a question. So please put it in all panelists and attendees. With me today, I have Lauren, who is our head of our marketing group, back from maternity leave. Thank you,
happy
Lauren.
to be back.
I'm so glad you're back. And then for the first time, Lucas, who's on our product and tech team, who leads our SEO efforts for PartySlate, is joining us to be my technical counterpart. So I can talk a lot about the marketing and content, and anything that goes beyond really technical, Lucas knows 100 times more than I know. So Lucas, thank you for joining your first webinar.
Yeah, very excited to be here.
Great to have you. And I also want you to notice I've upgraded my background today. So
it looks amazing.
My virtual background doesn't work that well on Zoom. I look like pixelated like a monster. And so I have an actual and repeat at the office back here. So yay, upgrade. So I think we're going to get started. I'd love to hear where people are zooming in from today. We have a lot of new people today. We have a very big crowd. Please feel free to shout out in the chat where you're zooming in from. I used to say calling in from, but that's 5 years ago. So where you're zooming in from, would love to hear from you. Again, change it to all panelists and attendees so we can see where you're coming from. We see Chicago. Yay. Hi, Nicole. New York. Jeff. Do I have to say every person now that comes in? You guys know I like to pretend this is my talk show. So Minneapolis, great. I know we have people from overseas I saw that were joining. Los Angeles. So glad to see so many people from coming in from all over the country to geek out with us this week. So I'm going to get started because we have a lot to cover. So I'm going to share my screen and just talk a little bit for the people that are new. That don't know PartySlate. PartySlate is a platform where leading event professionals and venues can share your work, build your brand, drive qualified leads, and really build out your network with people you work with day in and day out. And one of the most important things to PartySlate is we have so much content. We have over 900,000 photos. We have thousands of blog entries. We have videos. We are a content machine. And that is only valuable if people can find that content. Of course, we amplify on social media, our Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, but Google is really the most high intent channel in the world because you're actually sitting down and you're Googling, top outdoor venues in LA, leading event planners in Chicago. You're typing these things and Google is trying to find the best answer to your question or to your search term. And so technical SEO, what we're going to talk about today is really let's just call it 1/3 of the SEO equation. And we're going to talk about the 3 areas, but today we're going to focus, don't be intimidated by this tech SEO kind of flower here that I'm showing you, but I want you to know that there are a lot of elements of tech SEO. And today we're going to break it down into 5 simple areas that you need to know. And again, you don't need a Lucas to understand some of these areas. Of course, it'd be great if you could all
need a Lucas.
Everyone needs a Lucas, right? And I know you guys all have techie friends. Sometimes videographers and photographers are techie and understand SEO. You have someone that helped you with your website. You have a nephew that's a developer. Everyone has access to a Lucas or a Lucas Jr. that can help you with some of these concepts if you're feeling overwhelmed. And so we're going to talk about the 5 break it down elements. Then we're going to talk about what PartySlate does, just to give you like behind the scenes view of what we're doing for SEO. And then importantly, I'm going to give you your SEO action plan, which does include kind of the full elements of SEO that you need to be thinking about. I will also send as a follow-up links to our other 2 SEO webinars, one on your blog and one on content SEO, which are the other elements besides technical. But I have gotten quite a few people ask me about technical SEO, so this is in response to those questions. So just to get started, context setting, and Lauren, let me know, you're our moderator, if there's any questions along the way. Do not hold back. We love questions. Again, I like to pretend this is my talk show, so we like to make it live, ask questions. But for context setting, as I mentioned before, there are over 900 factors that go into how Google determines what ends up on that coveted first page result. I think the drop off on clicks, drops down to like 5% after page 1. So you really want to be on page 1 or 2, but page 1 is really the money page that you want to be on. And of those 900 factors, they fall into 3 main categories: content SEO, which is figuring out, what do you want to rank for? What are the high intent words? What's going to help you grow your business? Technical SEO, which we're going to talk about today, and then offsite or backlink SEO, which is basically, if you can get a link from the New York Times, trust me, Google differentiates that, or even PartySlate, high domain authority websites versus a local blog. Local blogs are good too, but you want to get high intent backlink that signals to Google that this is a really highly credible page and has valuable information. So our focus today, I said, is on technical. If I knew how Google's algorithm worked perfectly, I would not be sitting here today. I'd be on some island somewhere, and I'm happy to be here. But no one knows the exact algorithm that Google has, but there is thousands and millions of people that have built careers around trying to figure out what it is. And so what we do know are those 3 key components that I just talked about earlier. But part of technical SEO is your infrastructure, how your pages are built, what your meta tags are and your metadata, something called schema markup. Like, again, I'm not going to intimidate you with all of the tech terms, but it's probably about a third, if not more, of Google's ranking is technical components. And I like to just summarize it this way. They want to know, is your website mobile friendly? Is it easy to navigate? Does it load quickly? Is it structured simply? And then there's one really easy test I've talked about before called Google Page Speed Insights. And again, I'm going to send you this link so you don't even have to take notes. I'm going to just use an example. Michelle Rago, who's a destination planner, she's got a very great site. And you can go to this website, you can put your URL, which is your website address, in here, and they're going to look at, how well do you pass some of the things that they look for, that the site's easy to load, it's easy to understand, it's structured simply. It's almost like a quick test, and you don't pass fail, you're kind of on a spectrum, and 100 is the highest and 0 is the lowest. And generally what I hear, and Lucas, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you're below 50, something could be going on with your site and you're going to need to do a little bit of an investigation. So I'm going to look on desktop first because Michelle's desktop is very high, 90% green, amazing. But when you look on mobile, it's only 22. And again, some people even have zeros here. So it's not saying that this is bad. Maybe most of our high intent traffic is when people are on their desktop and they're looking and they've decided, mobile is not a high priority. I'm not like a flower shop, like, hey, I need to buy a bouquet of flowers. I need to quickly go on my mobile phone. It's more high intent. But either way, this is a tool that will give you in 3 seconds or 5 seconds an overview of how well your site is doing today. I don't know.
Just jump in with a question quickly,
Yeah.
Probably for Lucas. So if we can only prioritize mobile versus desktop, do you have a recommendation for which to start with for everybody on the webinar today?
I'd say it depends. I would probably say that to make sure that your desktop site works and is easy to get users to where you want to go, because that's probably where users, they're like really ready to commit to something. If someone's on their phone, they'll start looking in and they'll see like choose something maybe, but really for desktop, those users tend to be like they're ready to sit down and do some research.
Yeah. And I think it really depends on what area of the event industry you are in. And so if it's something more low consideration, again, like photo booth or something like that, where you just need a quick quote, I think, mobile is really important. Or they might be in their car waiting for kids at a soccer game and they're looking for an event planner. And you don't have to have your entire site like, mobile optimized, but you want it to be just the simplest of pages. Like if they want to just give you a quick call or they want to send you a quick email, those are the type of pages that are really important to be mobile optimized. Most of the modern platforms like Squarespace and WordPress have optimization built into it. If you're doing a custom site, which is fine, you just got to make sure it's mobile optimized. And so use this as a quick kind of cheat sheet on how you're doing today. But I do think both are important because we can't tell you what the exact use case is on how people find you. One other thing I would recommend is go look at your traffic and what percent is mobile and what percent is desktop. A lot of people have 50-50. And if that's the case, I don't think you want to take a chance that both of them need to be great.
Definitely.
Not to intimidate everyone that they have to do a lot. But anyway, take a look, make sure you see, I don't know if can you see my cursor or no? Mobile and desktop, I'm pointing at this. I know there is a way to do this. That next time I'm gonna get a little red circle, but mobile and desktop, there's different tabs here. So make sure you look at both of them, okay? So now let's get into the 5 technical SEO fundamentals. And again, we're not going to go through these 30 areas, so you don't have to be worried, but just know that Google, again, is one of the biggest companies in the world, has a very, very sophisticated way of looking at your website. So there in the old days, a lot of people try to do keyword stuffing and cheat and do a lot of things like, oh, Google will think this is X. Those days are pretty much over. So really, you got to follow these best practices to make sure that Google can see your really, really soundly structured website that will be valuable to your visitors. So number 1, and this is like a really obvious statement, but I want to make sure you know this, you want to make sure your website is being indexed by Google. And some people have asked me, how does this all work? And I can think, Lucas, after I give a little demo, you can explain it better from a technical perspective, but there's thousands of bots looking at all these different websites. If they can't find you anyway, there isn't a link to your website, they can't even index it, so they don't even know to look for you. And a really easy way, and again, I can send you also in our follow-up, is to actually look at, hold on one second. So you just type in site, and I'm just going to put PartySlate. It's just partyslate.com. Is that right, Lucas?
Yep.
Yes. So you click site and you'll see, I don't know if I did this right. Do I do www? No.
No, it works both ways.
Okay. So you can see here that site, partyslate.com, there's 39 or basically 40,000 results that show up. So obviously we're a big platform. We have tons and tons of pages, but this will show you if it's 0, and I'm sure most people on this call would not have 0, but even if it said only 5 pages and you have 200 pages and you have a big blog, they might not be seeing all of your pages. So a general rule of thumb is you want to make sure that the number of pages you think you have matches this. Now, there are some cases for large scale sites that you don't need them to. For example, on the gap.com, every single t-shirt and every single size, there's something called canonicals where you can tell Google which is the most important page. Lucas will start laughing at me because I'm throwing out technical terms, but you don't need to worry about the size of your site. You just want to make sure that your pages are being found. So site : your website.url.com will show you that.
Yeah, I'll also add, you can include other terms in the search. Like, for example, if you have a great outdoor event space that you want people to find on Google, you can do, for example, outdoor venues and then filter it to your site only. And that will really show what pages Google knows about for your site and which pages it thinks are relevant to that search term. So if there's something that you want to rank for, that you are relevant for when someone is searching for it, you can do that and see oh, I have a page here that I thought is really matches the search term that's answering this question. And if it's if it's ranking below your other pages, maybe then you can try to figure out why that is, or see that, oh, everything is working the way expected.
Got it. Okay, so that's number 1. I know this is elementary, but you may be surprised if you have a website with a lot of content that your pages are unknown to Google. And so that leads to my next one is one of the most important ways to help Google find all your content is a really logical site structure and navigation. And so I know I've done a whole webinar on website best practices. A lot of those are tied back to SEO. So on this page, LK Events, you have home, about, services, portfolio, contact, and when you click on services, there's a secondary navigation: wedding, elopements, destination, social. Not only can you click on services and have a really optimized page there, but you can also click on those sub areas, and hopefully it's lkevents.com/weddings, lkevents.com/destination. And so thinking about your URL slug and and we're going to talk about that on the next slide, and your structure and your sub navigation is really important. And you may think like, oh yeah, we're already doing that. Well, sometimes you add a new service and it's just this page kind of dangling out there nowhere. And maybe it's linked from the homepage, but it's not really thought through as far as the primary navigation. You risk that Google may not find that page. And it may be okay, maybe a promotion, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be, but in most cases, you want Google to see all of your content.
Yeah, and then also the location and the way that you link matters. So if you're linking to something, for example, on this page, if services is obviously an important aspect of LK events, if you're linking to that always in the header on every single page, Google can recognize that and see, okay, this is an important page. This is something that they think they can answer the needs of the users. That's going to be reflected in search rankings. So if you have an important page, it should be linked to regularly and in prominent locations. And it should really reflect kind of how you expect a user to navigate your site. If you're doing that well, Google is good at understanding and seeing that and then prioritizing pages accordingly.
That's great. And again, stop us if there's any questions, Lauren, along the way. The third area is make sure your website is free of broken links and broken pages. And you may think, well, yeah, my main navigation, every page is working. If you ever have done a website redesign, or if you ever added a promotion and then the promotion went away, someone could have been linking to those pages and then that page is no longer there. And so you may be surprised that you even have some high profile link backs from a newspaper or a blog, and that link doesn't work anymore on your site. That's like a double kind of SEO, you're going to go SEO jail if you do that, because not only do you not get the link back or the backlink kind of juice, like that power, you also get a broken link penalty. And so there's we use, I think, Ahrefs, which again, I gave you a demo of, and I'll send you the link to that last webinar. But you can use some free tools too to figure out, do you have any 404s? The first thing is, again, your navigation, I'm sure you don't, but you could have some blogs that are no longer there and links from within your site. And Google really, really doesn't like these 404 errors. And so, Lucas, you could probably explain more of a technical description of how these work.
Yeah, basically the big issue, if you have a blank page or an error page or a 404 page where there are links to that page, Google is crawling through the internet with its bots, and every time it clicks on a link to your site, essentially, it's looking to see, okay, is there something valuable here? I'm giving this site an opportunity to show me something valuable that I, Google, can put in my search results for my users. So when you have a blank page from another site, or from a link on your own page, that's a lost opportunity for Google to see something valuable for you. That's where they're looking and they're asking like, hey, I need something from you so that then later I can serve this as a search result if it's relevant. So that's why it's really important when you have these pages to make sure you can resolve them, because it's really gonna hurt you both. And if someone actually clicks on the link, it's not gonna be helpful to you. And also Google needs to know like your pages. So when you have something like that, it really depends how you ended up in the situation, how you would like to resolve it. So if, for example, you just changed a page and you moved it and you changed the URL, you can just add a redirect, or if it's a link on your own site, just change where the actual link is pointing to. Or if you have, maybe you removed a page, it's something that you didn't want to have something exactly like that, you can set a redirect to something that's closely matches the original purpose of the page, something that's close and relevant. Because that's
even just redirecting them to the homepage is better than a broken link. Yeah.
Definitely.
So again, we recently, we are not, we know we have a lot of digital expertise. We are not even perfect ourselves. I can tell you that we had redesigned our navigation a couple years ago, and we had some backlinks from VentureBeat, which is a big, financial and venture website, ABC News and others, where we had broken links because our navigation changed. And so Lucas, thankfully, went back and fixed those and redirected those. I'm not going to go to each of these publications and say, hey, can you change the link? It's just not worth the time. So we just redirected it to an active page.
Yeah.
Anything else on that one, Lucas, before I go on?
Nope.
Okay. Number 4, make sure every page has enticing and really easy to understand meta description. And so what a meta description is, so Kristen Banta, big planner in Los Angeles, you type her name in. Of course, you're very likely to have the first result if it's your branded search term. Although some people that have like the name Elegant Events or some kind of great events, things like that, not so easy because there could be other companies that have that. So you want to make sure that you have a really compelling description, strong tech SEO, strong SEO overall, so that you are first page. I have a friend named Jennifer Friedman who's a social worker, and she's having a hard time, getting her first because there's a lot of Jennifer Friedman. So tech SEO and content SEO is really, really important. For Kristen Banta, she's lucky. There isn't a lot of people with that name. She is first, and she has a really nice search result. And that search result page is likely feeding off of the metadata from her page. Sometimes if you don't have metadata or it's not good, Google will just decide themselves, the first paragraph on your site or pick up content that they deem will be better for the search result than what you have created. And so Lucas, talk a little bit about how metadata works.
Yeah, so basically this isn't something the user would actually see on the page if they go to your website. It's something that Google looks at. It's in the code kind of behind the scenes. And what it uses that is to kind of form the search results. So if it says, okay, someone searched and this is the page I want to show from your website, it'll look and see what's the page title and what's the meta description that page said. And so it uses that to form these search results. So then obviously I'm a user, I'm coming along, I want to choose from the results that I get when I search something. Having a compelling title and meta description can change the likelihood of that user actually clicking on your result. So if your title and meta description is more compelling than the result right next to you, that's going to increase the likelihood of them actually clicking on your link, which does two things. First of all, they clicked on your link, they're on your website, you converted them there, that's great. But additionally, when users are clicking on your link more than something next to it, it's called a click-through rate up to your site. Google rewards pages that have a high click-through rate by ranking those higher, because basically from Google's perspective, it's saying, hey, users want this, they like this result. I'm going to bring that up higher so that more people see it, because Google is trying to satisfy the people searching. So when your meta description and page title do that, Google is going to you're both going to get the traffic, and then Google is going to reward you by moving you up further.
Great. I'm actually going to jump us back to links really quickly. We have a question about an easy way to figure out if you have broken links on your website. And Julie, I know you mentioned some free resources, and Lucas, I think maybe we can put some together and send it out. If you want.
We'll put it in our follow-up kind of where we have a Google sheet, an Excel sheet that has all of these resources. I believe there's some free ones. I'm not sure. I know we pay for Ahrefs. That's terrible branding, but ahrefs.com. I don't know if you need that advanced of a tool, but I believe there are some free platforms that will help you see if you have broken links.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that it's easy with like website changes overall to have broken links within your own site. So just taking the time to go through your website really carefully, click everything, see where everything goes. Oftentimes you'll find that, oh, I had this page, I moved it, and I didn't update a link somewhere else. It happens all the time, and that's easy to find and easy to resolve there.
Yeah, another thing you can do without any tools is Google your company name and actually go through page 1 and 2 of what comes up, like page 7 or page 8. That stuff's no one's gonna click on that. But if you're good on the first 2 or 3 pages of your branded search name, you can put it in parentheses to get an exact match. You will likely not have an issue with broken links. If you have a lot of broken links, that's gonna actually impact your score. So you're gonna see that in your mobile and page speed test, I believe.
Question about meta descriptions and where you actually edit it or how you actually create it. Say there, you're trying to edit it for your blog. Where do you actually type it in and make sure that it shows up on Google?
So that's going to depend on what tool you're using to build your website. If you're using something like WordPress or Squarespace, there's going to be something in the interface where you can go and edit that per page. Then additionally, but if it's a custom built site, it's going to be in the HTML head element. And you can look and see at what other sites are doing as well. But it's really going to depend on like how you're building your site.
Great. And this is where, you may have, a techie friend that might want to help you with that. But if you do use one of the third-party platforms, SEO is top of mind for these platforms, and they are built to be mobile optimized, fast loading. Some even have tools in there to help you know how you're doing with SEO. So it should be pretty straightforward. If it's a custom site, again, it's in the code, and that's where Lucas would understand it more than me.
Yep. And yeah, and so then you got to go back to wherever you used to build and edit it there. Yep. And the rewards are big there for subscriptions.
Absolutely. So also tied to this is optimizing your page structure. And so I did talk about this for those of you who weren't on my blog SEO optimization talk. Just to give a quick recap. So just, for this happens to be an article we're on page 1 for. So 16 unique 50th birthday party idea or party themes and that guests will remember. The 50th birthday party is here in what's called an H1. So I know you have a lot of people talk about H1s, H2s. If you also look at the URL or the slug up here, it's partyslate.com/best of, which is our editorial section, 50th birthday party themes. And then when you scroll down, you're going to see a lot of content about 50th birthdays. You're going to see music inspired 50th birthday parties. And again, you don't have to go overkill, like say it 1,000 times, but if you look at this is called an H3. You see our H1, H2, H3, and really clear chunks of information. So it's not like 30,000 words and then there's a photo. It's actually photo content. That kind of format is also rewarded. And I don't know, Lauren, if you want to say anything else about kind of the structure of these pages.
Yeah, I think you want to, from a content perspective, you just want to think about how somebody would actually read and go through your content. That's the most important, is the user experience. So as a consumer, when I read an article, I like seeing an image, digesting what's in the image, flowing through to a headline, and then flowing through to the copy. So you always want to think about who's reading your content and design it for them.
I didn't want to click on that page, but I did. Sorry. But yeah, on every page on PartySlate, from our photos like aisles and arches to our real events, everything is structured in a very, very simple way that has a simple H1, simple content, very easy to click on, simple URLs. And we're working on even improving this even more. But this is really the key to having a simple page structure that Google can. Originally, a lot of this came for people that had, visual problems, had, disabilities, and the accessibility makes it really easy for, let's say, a reader to read the page to someone. That's what they reward. And then layering on top of it, what Lauren was saying, the content is easy to digest. I know you've seen pages that are just copy, and you're like, oh, is this ever going to end? People need it to be in kind of digestible, I like to call it chunks, that's not a marketing term, of information, so that you can really like skim it to Emma Skimmer, or you can read it, or you can click on an image. And of course, for us, we want to get people back to your PartySlate profiles. So we're adding all of these links of the people that did these events so that we drive you back to the PartySlate profile.
Right, and I think we're all guilty of skimming. Sometimes I skim, you want to read headlines, you want to get to the point much faster. So we always do a really, really engaging headline, engaging subheads, and then the copy is always so well written, and that's for people that really want to know more.
Yep. So the last area, and then we're going to talk about what PartySlate is doing, and of course we'll take your questions, is making sure your website is mobile optimized. And I know probably half of your traffic comes from mobile, and I know desktop is very important. People are more high intent, like I'm planning my wedding, I'm planning my corporate event, I might be in my iPad or my computer, and you're kind of leaning in. But also there's the lean back where I'm like, oh yeah, someone just gave me the name of someone, I'm just going to quickly skim, their page, and they might come back to it later. So your conversion on mobile to a contact might be lower, but people are still getting a branded experience when they're checking you out. So you want to make sure you have the responsive design, that it's easy to click the buttons. I know, like, people have bigger or smaller fingers, and like you want it to be easy to click on. And then of course, mobile navigation, we call it the hamburger, where you have the 3 bars or 4 bars, is it 3 bars, where people can easily get to your navigation at any time. That's really important too. And while Lucas is talking about it more from a technical perspective, I'm just going to jump into another way you can test how mobile friendly your website is.
Yeah, so I guess the way I would talk about mobile optimization is really think about, because this is what Google is doing. Google is thinking about what does the user need when they're on a phone. So first of all, usually the phone is going to be slower than a computer. It's going to have a slower connection, and also users, they're going to have a shorter attention span. So really, really critical and rewarded by Google is to have the page load quickly. You can just do this with like a quick visual test, or like Google mentioned, or like Julie mentioned, the page speed insights test. But if something, let's say someone landed on your page from a Google search result, if they click on your link and it's taking a long time to load, someone on a phone is more likely to just click back and go to another one. So and Google knows that, and it's going to reward the pages that load quickly. So, and then in addition to that, once someone is on your site and the page loaded and they see everything, people on a phone, they're going fast. It's really important to be able to find quickly what I'm looking for. Like, for example, like Julie mentioned, there's a hamburger menu there. You don't need a hamburger menu, but it can be a really useful tool.
This is LK Events. We talked about this before, and so they said page is mobile friendly. If anyone on the call is brave enough, you want to send me your URL, I will be happy to run a real-time test. I don't think it's anything to be embarrassed of, that you need work on your mobile, your website, so don't be shy. Again, you may decide this is not as high a priority. Just know that 50% of your traffic is likely coming from mobile, and so you want it to be friendly.
There we go. We got one, Julie, from Heather.
Okay.
Oh, we have two.
Okay. What are the website? Or can you just tell me and I'll Google it? Or let me, hold on, I can see it. Chat.
Can you see it, or I can read it too?
Okay, no, I got it. Okay. Heather was first. So I'm going to go here.
Wow, a lot of brave people.
Okay, you're brave. This is like fun for me. This is kind of like a game show.
And we can always, if you want to send it after, we can always do it after this. Or you can use
I'll do a couple here just because I think it's kind of fun to see. But again, the larger your site, the more time it's going to take to analyze because it's really looking. Yay. So your page is friendly, is user friendly. So you can see here, there's a nice picture. You can get, I'm sure you can't scroll down here, but I'm sure you can scroll and find information. So let's do one more. Oops, go back. And again, this is different from the page speed insights, but page speed insights, you can look at mobile and desktop. So again, these are really easy tools to use. And most people that use third-party platforms, you should be great. So this one is mobile friendly. So you can see what this looks like. There's a menu here. One of the common things is that trigger. I don't have to use that, but people have come to recognize that as that's your menu bar. I'll do one more just for fun. And then Lucas, is there anything else you want to add on mobile optimization?
Yeah, I'd say it's a double-edged sword, not in a bad way, but in a good way. The more effective your site is for someone using a phone, the more likely they are to do the actions that you want, find what they're looking for, and like your brand. But also then Google is going to see that. Google is really good at understanding which pages are easy to use for someone on a phone, and those pages are going to rank higher. That's like a big differentiator, especially for someone searching on a phone.
I could stay all day doing this. It's kind of really fun. So this is the last one I'll do because we have a lot more to cover and we want to leave time for Q&A. But again, I think when people think of technical SEO, their blood pressure goes up a little, like, oh, I don't have a Lucas, and oh, I don't have time, I'm so busy, blah, blah, blah. Just do these simple steps to get started, and then you can decide what priority it is to fix it. I think if you're like a 0 on this, like you may want to reconsider, but if you're even a 50% on the page speeds, it might be good enough. Ask 3 of your friends to look at your mobile site and give you feedback and see if it's good enough. If not, next time you do your redesign or even a facelift, many people don't even need to do a redesign. It's a facelift. You might need the font to be a little bit larger. You might need your menu to be a little larger. There's some things that you can do that don't require kind of a full ground up, redesign. So this must be a larger site. Let's see, fetching page. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi. I have a feeling it's going to be good. Lucas, what's your bet on this?
I'd go good.
And now it could be my Wi-Fi, but it's not doing anything. So I might have to move on. Snap Fiesta, I'm sorry. It's not loading.
Yeah, and this is something that is accessible for everyone. It's completely free, of course.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go, nice.
Done. Your page is mobile friendly. And of course you can, again, get additional resources here. So yay for everyone who shared your search results, your page, and put yourself out there to be vulnerable. Even if your score is not great, that is not the end of the world. It could be some very simple fixes. So do not worry about it. So those were the 5 areas that we talked about. Again, we're going to send you, anyone that wants the copy of this presentation, obviously we'll share the recording, but I want to just talk about a little bit how we think about SEO from PartySlate's perspective. Number 1, we do extensive keyword research. We call them kind of money terms. What are the terms that will help people find PartySlate and get valuable, valuable content from PartySlate? So PartySlate is a platform that helps people get inspired for their event of all kinds, but also leads them to the best local event professionals, venues, planners, caterers, et cetera, photographers. And so with our keyword, for example, event planner New York, high volume, we are page 1. I will tell you, we're not page 1 for every term. That's something that we're constantly working on, but we are getting more and more. We have 2 articles. We have a blog entry about the top event planners, and we have a directory page that's been optimized. Number 2, Lauren's team, which is marketing, has amazing articles that are SEO optimized and follow all of the 5 things we talked about today, but also taking into the keyword strategy. So again, 50th birthday party ideas, 50th birthday, people tend to spend more for these larger milestones. They're looking for ideas, and there isn't 1,000 websites that are talking about fabulous 50th party, 50th ideas. So we rank page 1. Of course, there's other terms that we want to rank for. We rank page 1 for 20,000 terms. We want it to be 100,000 terms. So we're always working on more, but also landing pages. So it may not be your blog entry. For example, let's say you're a San Diego wedding planner and you work with fabulous venues in San Diego. You could optimize for San Diego venues as a keyword search and actually build a really great page about all the venues that you love. That's longer than the article that's page 1. Again, those are hard terms to rank for, but again, you can think of the long tail keywords to rank, and that's what we do. And then finally, we're building number 3, building backlinks, not to jump ahead. So press, social influencers, when we write an article on the top outdoor venues in Chicago, then we get those profiles, those venues to link back to it. That gives it more link back juice, saying to Google, oh, this is a really good article. Also, all the stuff Lucas is talking about, Lucas has, works with a big tech and product team, and everything we build has SEO in mind. So everything we're building is optimized. So when you do your PartySlate profile page, you don't have to worry about technical SEO because that's built into our platform. So whether you have a free profile or you're a premium member where we actually do the posting and the boosting on the site and all the other bells and whistles that you get, the tech SEO is actually done for you. So it's one thing we can take off your plate that you don't have to worry about. And then Lauren and team, along with Lucas, are daily looking at how do we optimize more keywords, what are some trending terms that we should be ranking for, and really looking for opportunity. So there is a science behind SEO, and I don't want you to think like you have to do what PartySlate does. We are a team of 35 that does this, full time. We are a content marketing platform, but these simple 5 things you can do will help you get higher on Google search result page. And then the other thing I'll say is, we, again, talking about, I like to say SEO for, I don't want to say SEO for dummies, SEO like my mom would understand, that, you can write just simple event descriptions. You can add a really rich company description on your profile page. Google doesn't like duplicative content, so don't just copy and paste, change it a little bit, add a little content. Use these rich keywords when you're describing your events that you're posting, and think about what people are searching for. So instead of Julie and Doug's wedding, it could be an all-white wedding at Four Seasons Chicago, which is a better long tail keyword. The other thing I'll say is the video gallery, Google really likes videos, and so they will prioritize if they see a video on the page. And so getting videos on your profile page is another great way to improve your ranking. And I mentioned
one thing with content, just to simplify that awesome slide a little bit, is the way that Google has really evolved. It's very intuitive. It's the way that you would want to read, is the way you should write, is the way that Google will really recognize your content. So write something that you would want to read and that would make a lot of sense to you.
Yeah. And I know it's not intuitive on your website. You may say Amanda and Chip. I guess what we're saying is change that to, stunning outdoor fall wedding, and try to think of these descriptive terms that someone could Google. And even if you really want to have people's names, you could even say Amanda and Chip : beautiful outdoor fall wedding. Again, you can come up with those. The other thing is, event descriptions. I know they're hard to write, but you were at the event. We weren't at the event. So it's going to be really hard for us to write them for you. Again, we do offer a service to post your photos, but your event. And so you want to think about setting the scene, the event type, the location, the decor, being descriptive, the experience. Again, this is more content marketing, but the longer they stay on the page, the bigger signal to Google that they found a valuable page. So there's much, much more to just the technical side. Is it a good user experience, and are you helping people understand, what the event was all about, so that they're more engaged? The other thing I'll say is we've added some really, really great SEO-driven profile features for our premium members. And one thing I'll say is, we do have an amazing free profile, and I'm not pushing anything. Please, if you don't have a free profile yet, check it out and get engaged and figure out if this is a good platform for you. But for the premium members, we've added meet the team section, tons of keywords that you can pack into that, multiple cover photos. Again, Google likes to see they're engaged, you're staying. Keyword rich, testimonials are launching next week. Unlimited credit events. So when someone credits you as the venue, you can have up to 3 on your three accredited events on your profile page, but you can have unlimited when you're have a premium profile. So we've tried to package in kind of all these SEO features that make it easier, so you don't need to have a full-time Lucas, although it would be great, on your team. So Lauren, did I miss anything on what PartySlate is doing?
No, I think that all sounds amazing.
Okay, and then after I go into the SEO action plan, I'm just going to show a quick profile that will give you a feel for how to SEO optimize your profile page. Number one, my last presentation was more on content SEO. I'm going to send you guys the link if you didn't have the pleasure of attending that one, but try to think of what are your 20 long tail keywords that are important to your business. I say San Diego wedding planner, San Diego event planner, San Diego venues I love. What are the things that you want to build, or a special type of event that you're doing, vintage, vineyard weddings, whatever those terms are, and build content around that. You might be surprised that you already have content that you can actually just go back to and optimize those blog entries and load in your keywords and follow the structure. We're even going back to our old blog entries from 3-4 years ago and adding more rich keywords, lengthening the content, updating the date. No one knows when these articles are created, that you can really make what's old new, so you're not so overwhelmed with creating a ton of new content. Number 2, under content SEO, is really use Google Analytics and Search Console to really measure your performance and your organic traffic and how it's growing. And then optimize third-party profiles, think about PartySlate, LinkedIn, Instagram. The social signals and the link backs are important from these sites. Backlink strategy, I always say, if you work with 20 great venues in San Diego, you write an article, let's say you're a planner, you can ask those venues to link back to the article. That's really a great signal to Google. Write a guest post, offer to have give a testimonial to some of your event partners and say, hey, would you link to my site, in the testimonial? So there's ways that New York Times is great, very hard to get in the New York Times. Many of you I know have gotten high profile backlinks, which is amazing, but that is another way to do it on the local level. Technical SEO, that's what our conversation was about today. Use the page speed insights, the mobile test that we sent you. We're going to send you the links. Just make sure your website's really easy to navigate and mobile friendly. Those are the top priorities. And again, a non-technical way to check is ask 3 kind of people you don't work with all the time and say, hey, would you check out my mobile website and just give me some feedback on, was it easy to figure out what I do? Was it easy to contact me? Was it easy to see my photos? That alone will tell you if you have a problem here. Lauren, any questions on that?
We actually have a question about how to set up a free profile.
Okay, so I'm gonna just really quickly jump. And I know there's a lot of, I get excited when I see a lot of new people. There's a lot of new event professionals on the call today. So to set up a free new profile, you just go to 4pros You click here, you can learn a little bit about PartySlate. You can inquire about membership if you're interested in kind of our full service offering and advertising, or you can just click here on apply for a PartySlate profile. And you can say, I'm an event professional, I'm a venue. It takes about 5 minutes. We do have a short approval process that we look at your, we want to make sure that you have professional photos. We want to make sure that it's the right category for us. And we will get back to you so quickly and get you activated on PartySlate. So very, very easy to do. I also set up a PartySlate masterclass on how to do this. So I have a recording for that. If anyone is interested, I'd be happy to send that to you. Other questions?
Not yet. Maybe we'll take 1 or 2 more while Julie's navigating to a profile page. So feel free to send them in.
Okay, great. What is a good profile to go to? Let me think. I'm just going to go to Bliss Events Chicago because we just had a call with her and her profile is amazing. So when you go to Bliss Events Chicago, as an example, you're going to see a lot of these SEO, SEO techniques that we talked about. So let me just actually log out. Actually, it doesn't matter. You can see if you're logged in, you can see how you can edit your profile. It's super easy. But here you can see our multiple cover photos that when you first load, it will show all your different content and different types of events you do. You'll see our H1 here, Bliss Events Chicago, which is really great. You can see our H2s. You walk down here, you see a video, which is very good. And then you see she's got 75 events, which is amazing. Not all of these were posted by her. A lot of these were credited. You can see all these credited events down here. Oh my God, there's a lot of content here. And again, once you click into these pages, you will see all of the photos from that event. So let me go to one up here. Click here and you'll see all of the credits here. So Eric Kelly, Bliss Events, Frost Chicago did the lighting. And then of course you can link out to their profile pages to see their work. The other thing that's SEO optimized here is meet the team section. So you can add up to 3 team members. I know many people, this is part of the premium listing that want more than 3. That's coming. I get in trouble, right, Lucas, when I commit to things that aren't yet in the roadmap, but I know it's coming soon. Frequently asked questions. If you have any feature requests, now is the time to ask Lucas, guys. So anything you want, ask Lucas. I'm kidding. Frequently asked questions, another great SEO optimized. So we went and searched for every question that was popularly asked on Google for every category, event planners, venues, etc. We preloaded those in, and this is part of the free profile page. You can load these up. This is like SEO gold. This is amazing. They love frequently asked questions. And then finally, all the event professionals you've worked with is also great content showing you're linking to other pages. They're linking back to you. This is really great for SEO as well. So again, our goal is to get them to contact you, but also to look at your photos and stalk you as much as they want. And then one new feature, I have to just show this because I'm excited about it. You can see if you're on PartySlate already, how many connections you have, how many people you've credited. So this example, Bliss Events has 107 total connections on PartySlate. The average is 14. The top 5% is 54. So you can see kind of like the PageSpeed Insights, how you're ranking on PartySlate. And when you see people that you've worked with that don't have a profile page yet, and you want to increase your connections, you can just put their email address in here and invite them, send a little note, and that will increase your connections, which is, again, good for SEO, but also good for the PartySlate experience that they're having with your profile page. So go ahead.
We have one more question for Lucas, back to tech really quickly.
Yeah.
We have a question about what page partially loaded means and how you fix that if you're finding that happens on your website.
Yeah, so I think that's probably from the Google mobile friendly test. So basically what that means is that Google could load the page. As mentioned, it reports that the page is still mobile friendly, but there are some little parts of it that it didn't load. Generally, that means it's something that's not critical to the page, and a regular user would load it. So it's not something we worried about. You can even see in the screenshot in the mobile friendly test, just look at that, see, is everything here that I expected it to be? If that's the case, it's nothing to worry about at all.
Awesome. So just to wrap up, technical SEO, do not be intimidated. It is very straightforward. There's 5 key areas. There's free tools to check it out. Of course, we are happy. I love doing website reviews. I know I'm a total geek. I can do them in 5 minutes while I'm watching my Netflix at night. If you want a website review, I can do a quick look, and I can also give you some high-level SEO feedback on that call. But what we'll send to you is an SEO strategy template that will include content SEO, technical SEO considerations to help you think through your priorities. And of course, if anyone wants a copy of the deck, I'm happy to send that. Our next digital event is on really, reinventing your virtual corporate events for 2021. We know social events are coming back much faster. Again, my heart hurts for everyone that's feeling the impact of the pandemic. Everyone has been affected. We hope everyone's staying healthy and we see light at the end of the tunnel soon. But virtual events are not going to go away, and even hybrid events, which we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about a really, really interesting use case on a pretty complex user experience for corporate events that is engaging, and there is Zoom fatigue, that is interactive, and we're really, really excited to talk about that. We've talked about social events, we talked about galas. Now we're going to talk about corporate events, but I think these learnings can be translated to any type of event. So that's next week on Tuesday. So Lauren, anything else you want to say about the...
No. Nothing about this. I think that as we get into Q4, it's toward the end of the year, we want to fill the rest of your year with topics that you want to hear about. So if you have something you'd like us to cover in an upcoming digital event, feel free to let us know.
That'd be great. And Lucas, thank you. Shout out to you on your first, your premiere, webinar on PartySlate. And I know a lot of times our tech and product team are behind the scenes. They're not at the physical events and our launches, but they are so amazing. They are listening to your feedback. They're doing research. They're digging into what party hosts want, people that have the budgets to spend. They're digging into what you need to market your business and really building these, feature-rich SEO optimized experiences. So thank you, Lucas, for all your hard work and especially your leadership on SEO and really making PartySlate a world-class SEO platform.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. This was fun.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys for coming. We will send out a follow-up soon. I'm excited for next week. If you can join us, that would be great. And then also we'll have the recording posted to partyslate.com/digital/events, and we will send you that link soon. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.